China has just revealed its electric car sales for the month of October, which hit a new record, just over 8.5 million. I don't know how that's even possible. That's absolutely insane. That's their delivery figures so far. And well, this means the media telling us that EVs are slowing down, Toyota making their claims about EVs slowing down and them not really being something that people want, are clearly categorically false. Keep in mind the context here. 1 in 3 cars sold worldwide is sold in China. 1 in 3. So Toyota, in fact, is very dependent upon the Chinese car market. So are all Japanese automakers. Tesla and BYD had some really good sales months in October, but Teslas were a little bit down. Not massively, but a little bit, because, well, there's a key reason for that, and I'll get to that in a minute. BYD sales, though, hit a new record, over 300,000 for the month of October. Here's the breakdown. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. Welcome to all the new subscribers. Great to have you. I want to say a big shout out. Thank you to our Patreon supporters. Couldn't really do this without you. We try to aim for 7 videos per day. That's our approximate average usually. So if you're not seeing those in your feed, just jump on, click on the Google Electric Viking in your YouTube little section, and then you can actually click on the channel. You can find out all the news that's happening on most days of the week. So I couldn't really do this without your support on Patreon. I want to say thank you so much. And also YouTube members as well. If you want to be a YouTube member, you can see some of our videos in advance. I'll put links in the description. Sales for BYD. Well, without BYD, clearly these record sales numbers in China would not be possible. 890,000 plug-in hybrids and EVs were sold this October, as in the month just gone. That's an increase of 32% year over year. And even more importantly than that, it's growth of 7% versus the previous month. Looking at this sales chart here from CNAV Post, you can see that within the space of 3 years, EV sales in China have gone from virtually nothing, very small numbers, to a staggering, absolutely incredible 900,000 in a single month. This is a clear disruption. So Toyota's denials of this recently in the media saying it's not happening, you cannot argue with facts. These are facts. So that means it's likely there will be a record 8.5 million EV sales in China this year, which is just truly staggering. And it also means that a number of manufacturers hit new records in October in China. So BYD was way out in front, miles ahead of everyone else, which still is a bit of a surprise to me. And the reason I say that is their EVs are very good. I think a lot of people know that. They're great. And I definitely see why people are buying them in China and in Australia and Israel and everywhere else. Plug-in hybrids, though, they've had a lot of problems. And this is not me speaking from emotion here, telling you some YouTube nonsense. It's just giving you the facts here. They have. In fact, the 5 most complained about cars in China by far are all BYD plug-in hybrids. So it surprises me that they're still being purchased at such high numbers. Possibly the price is very competitive. That may factor in. But anyway, if you have an opinion on that, let me know in the comments. 301,000 sales for BYD, staggering in the month of October. Tesla, 72,000. I think Tesla sales are down a little bit. They're down by 5 or 6% from September, the previous month. And the key reason for that is because they were ramping production of the Model 3 Highland. That's taking a while. We've seen the Model 3 Highland sitting in Tesla's car park in Shanghai. There's thousands of them there. I think the numbers for November will probably be significantly better. If they're not, then it's definitely cause for concern. But I think they probably will be. In third place was Geely with 62,000. Fourth was Chang'an with 58,000. Guys, by the way, Chang'an, they do plan on selling EVs outside of China. They will have some choices there available potentially within the next 12 months. Then you've got SAIC, GM, Wuling. So that tri-venture between those 3 companies. They sold a disappointing 44,600. They haven't really been growing. There's a lot of competition in the market segment that they're selling in. They were followed by GAC Aeon with a pretty good number, 41,503. GAC Aeon have sold similar numbers to that now for the past 6 months in a row, which is really good. And obviously, you consider the context here. You've got companies like General Motors and Ford selling 20,000 vehicles, EVs, in a whole quarter. Then GAC Aeon, most people haven't even heard of them. They're selling 125, 130,000 in a quarter. Growth rate here is a bit scary for competitors because GM and Ford still do rely on sales in China pretty heavily, but they're losing those sales. Not just GM and Ford, but all automakers from the West, particularly Japanese automakers, are losing sales to all these Chinese brands in this list here. Followed up by Li Auto, but Li Auto sales were primarily plug-in hybrids. They have just revealed their new EV though, basically like an MPV van type thing. It's amazing though, it can charge a speed of 560 kilowatt charging. Unbelievable battery pack in that vehicle. I believe that battery is actually the new Cheer-in battery from CATL. So yeah, that's the new technology we're seeing come out now, 4C charging. They were followed by Great Wall Motors, SAIC passenger vehicle, XPeng with a record 20,000 sales. That's XPeng's best month ever. Well done to XPeng, that's great news. They were followed by Leap Motor with 18,200, NIO with 16,000, SAIC, Volkswagen with 15,600 are really the only major automaker legacy brand here on this list. And they came in 13th place. So that's the best that Western automakers can do other than Tesla. 13th place. And it's not even their own company. That's a joint venture between the Chinese government, SAIC, and Volkswagen Group. So Volkswagen Group only owns 50% of that company. So really only 50% of those sales are going to go to the Volkswagen Group in terms of profits, etc. Meaning, really, if you want to look at the legacy automakers here, well, probably the highest one is that one there, SAIC Volkswagen. And if you subtract, say, half of those sales, which go to obviously the joint venture partner, you're looking at 7,500 sales for the month. That's the best that we can do as legacy automotive companies. And if you consider the context here, I mean, nearly 1 million cars are sold in the month. The best numbers of EV sales from a legacy automaker with the Volkswagen Group with 7,500 out of 1 million cars sold. Not many. Really you can see where the auto industry is going in China. So let's have a look at BYD's sales. What actual models sold well? Well, first of all, looking at this growth for BYD, it's really quite impressive that they have increased sales every single month this year. January, February, every single month, they have grown to some degree. I'm not convinced BYD's strategy recently of massively slashing the prices of its electric cars, in particular its EVs, is maybe the best thing to do. Obviously, they want as much market share as possible, but they continue to discount their cars. The media says it's Tesla, but the truth is BYD are discounting their cars very frequently, and Tesla is selling EVs at a significantly higher price now. For example, the Model 3 is much more expensive than equivalent vehicles from BYD. The Model Y, exactly the same. Brand new model, the Song L, comes out from BYD. Very impressive electric car. And the equivalent vehicle from Tesla, the Model Y, costs, well, about 15% more, and it's smaller. So BYD continue to discount their vehicles. Within the last 24 hours, they've just revealed another discount to various vehicles in their range. And the whole idea here for BYD is, yes, they're making a profit, but they don't care if their margins shrink. They just want to take market share. They just want to basically eliminate some of these weaker players here in order to take market share. Maybe that will work out, possibly. What are your thoughts on this strategy? Now, that said, I should make a point here, and that is that BYD is making more profit on its automotive division than it ever has in its history. It had its highest profit quarter in the third quarter this year. And it didn't make more profit than Tesla, but it's getting there. It made 1.4 billion. Tesla made about 1.85 billion. So it's getting closer. And it wasn't long ago that we were saying BYD wasn't really making any profit on its cars, because it wasn't. But that has drastically changed. And part of the reason is production numbers. The more you make, the lower your prices. Vertical integration makes its own batteries, makes its own motors, bringing down the cost substantially. Of course, Chinese wages are also much lower, and that helps as well. So what percentage of those 301,000 sales were fully electric? BYD delivered 165,500 vehicles that were fully electric in October, meaning, about just under 60%, or about 56% approximately of sales for BYD were fully electric. The rest of them were plug-in hybrids. Now, the plug-in hybrid sales, in my opinion, are a potential disaster in the future. And I say this because I've said the same thing about Ford. Ford, of course, has huge issues when it comes to warranties in the future. Its recalls, warranties are so expensive for the company, and they're a huge drag on its profitability. Of course, similar things could potentially happen with BYD's plug-in hybrids. They're actually in court right now for various plug-in hybrid issues. They're also in court for issues with Great Wall Motors and various things all around plug-in hybrids. So the more EVs that BYD can sell, they appear to be actually selling more EVs as a percentage of sales within the past couple of months. That's a good thing. That will be a positive for the company, trying to move away a little bit from plug-in hybrids, which of course have been causing the company a lot of problems. Looking at BYD's actual fully electric growth this year, they've grown every single month with EV sales, right? Every single month they've increased sales. But plug-in hybrids, it's been a bit different. The trend here is growth, but the trend is also not necessarily the same. You can see actually BYD delivered the same number of plug-in hybrids in October versus what it did in the month of September. So that could indicate possible decision from BYD to try to sell more EVs. And if you've seen recently, that's pretty obvious by the fact that BYD is discounting its EVs more than it is its plug-in hybrids. Now, the other big area here of growth for BYD is battery installations. Looking at battery installations, they've grown every single month as well. In fact, every single month, BYD's battery installations have grown. Staggering to see the numbers here. The growth here for BYD's battery division is massive. The BYD is aiming to sell 3 million vehicles this year, but it wants to hit a stretch goal of 3.6 million. For it to hit 3 million sales for the year, it needs to sell around 310,000 vehicles in the next 2 months. In each month, it's about 310,000. It definitely can do that. I don't think it'll hit its stretch target of 3.6 million, but 3 million looks very likely. Probably around about 3.2 million is my guess, but that will make it one of the biggest automotive companies in the world. So what are BYD's cars that are selling well? The Song is selling quite well. They've increased sales of the Song. There is a new model now that's helped to boost sales. And nearly 65,000 Songs were delivered in the month of October. The Seagull has been a huge success story for the company. Of course, it's not particularly profitable because it's a very low-priced car, but it's definitely filling that market niche very nicely, and it's a very good growth story. BYD delivered nearly 45,000 of the Seagull in the month of October, which is massive growth considering the car only came out in April. That was followed by the BYD Chin. There's a new version of the Chin out now. Growth for the Chin hasn't really increased. It's been very, very steady, but it certainly is still a big seller for the company. They're selling around 40 to 45,000 per month for the last 6 months. BYD Yen. BYD's Yen is actually selling extremely well. It had its best month ever in the month of October with around 42,000 deliveries. The Dolphin. Now, the Dolphin is probably the best success story for the company, and I believe it could potentially one day be the best-selling car in the world, taking over something like the Toyota Corolla, similar size to the Corolla, but of course, EV only, and it's very affordable. It's a very, very good car. Sales for the Dolphin continue to grow, and we're right on the cusp of seeing Dolphin be delivered to a number of different countries worldwide. Very, very important car for BYD. Probably the most important car for BYD right now. Sales of the Dolphin were 35,000 in the month of October. The BYD Han, on the other hand, it's battling in a market that's shrinking. The sedan market is shrinking worldwide, and clearly, as you can see here from the Han sales, they've continued to go down. BYD delivered around 20,000 Hans. I'm not really sure why you'd buy a BYD Han. I think there's better vehicles. In fact, I think it's definitely not one of the 10 best electric sedans in China. I would say it's not even one of the top 20 best. So I'm surprised. Maybe it's just the strength of the brand that they are actually selling at all. Now, the Han is sold in Europe today, but sales of the Han are about, I don't know, maybe 50 a month over all of Europe. So it's not really a success in Europe either. BYD Seal, on the other hand, the Seal is doing well. It's doing well, but only as a result of exports. As you can see from this chart here, the BYD Seal was a complete flop in China. It was revealed approximately around August of 2022. Its best-selling month ever was about, or just under 16,000 last year. But this year, it's been a big disappointment. BYD have been delivering around 6,000 to 7,000 per month. Now, for a brand new car, that's its global sales worldwide, 6,000 to 7,000 a month. That's not enough money to actually reap back your development costs. However, that may have just changed because BYD sales have suddenly grown enormously over the past 2 months for the Seal, and they've hit a new record of nearly 20,000. The majority of those, though, I believe, have been shipped outside of China to markets including Australia. So external markets may be the growth story here for the Seal, may save the Seal from being a bit of a failure for the company. In fact, I think it probably will. The BYD Tang, well, that's another one that sells quite slowly. BYD sold around 10,000 Tangs, not really much growth or any movement there in terms of sales. That is sold in Europe as well. The BYD Chaser 05, same deal, 8,000 were sold of those. The BYD Frigate 07, that has just received some more discounts because it's not really moving either, 4,000 deliveries. And the BYD E2, that's not really moving anywhere either, 1,000 deliveries for the E2. On the other hand, BYD's premium brand, which Mercedes-Benz owns 10% of that company, it's called Denza. It sold 12,000, just under 12,000 vehicles in the month of October, which was down from September. It's still a pretty good number, I think, considering the vehicles they're selling are just rebadged BYDs. They look a little different, but everyone knows they're pretty much the same cars. So they're doing well to sell those because they're making probably more margin on those cars than BYD's other vehicles. So those are the vehicles here for BYD. You can see really the winners here. There are a few losers, primarily there's winners, but this is not in fact the full list of BYD's vehicles. There's quite a number more of them. This doesn't really look into all those different models. BYD have their new brand, Fengcheng Bao. They also have another new brand that's just been revealed. So this is the main biggest sellers for the company that contribute the majority of its sales. And as you can see, Dolphin is doing really well. Seagull, really, really well. The Chin has had a good year for the company. Very big sales of the Chin, and there's a new version of the Chin as well. The Yen, which is the Atto 3, that's obviously a growth story for the company. Very good sales of the Atto 3, especially in Thailand. Not too bad in Australia, and it sells very, very well in Israel as well. Guys, let me know your thoughts on these sales here. Personally, my takeaway is this. EV sales are growing very quickly. The Chinese auto market is beginning to target Japan. Japan has just stimulated its economy with, I believe, a $120 billion stimulus package, but they already have trillions of dollars in debt. Either way, they will lose some of their automotive sales to these companies here in this list that I've spoken about. That's a big concern for the Japanese economy. And you can see the automotive industry is pivoting away from Japan towards China. It may not be a fast pivot, but it's definitely happening. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you for watching.